Tebuhabulwa hajire asibe mangu kubanga President Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert Bobwen mu convention eno gyalimu mu Washington DC ate yayongedde okumutegeeza nti wakomerawo weeks ebbiri ze yamuwa atamusanga mu ntebe y'Abannayuganda either asibe oba alinde ki ekigenda okuddako. President era ayongedde okusuubiza Museveni n'akabinja k'entene Uganda y'Abannayuganda ate Bannayuganda be balina sse esembayo ku ggwanga lyabwe so amusindikidde obubaka obumulabula obumugamba nti ave mu ntebe y'obukulembeze bw'eggwanga kubanga si ye President omulonde naye akimanyi bulungi nti Uganda y'Abannayuganda era Bannayuganda be balina sse esembayo ku ggwanga lyabwe kale n'olwekyo atambulemu mangu anyenye ebbina lye ng'alizza gye yafubutuka bannansi gye batamanyi kubanga Museveni ffenna tukimanyi bulungi nti tumubudamizza bubudamya takyalina kyagamba eggwanga siriye eggwanga lya Bannayuganda era ffe Bannayuganda ffe abalina sse esembayo ku ggwanga lyaffe era bwe tunayimusa amaloboozi gaffe ne tugamba nedda ennafu is enough ke kaseera Museveni atuddiza eggwanga lyaffe mbasuubiza baganda bange mikwano gyange Museveni tajja sigala wano tujja kuddamu kumulabako naye obugumiikiriza bwaffe n'okwagala kwaffe kwe tutadde ku yosaite buhabulwa alowoozezza nti nno buli kimu ekyekiteredde naye tumugamba wowe ebyo tebinnatereera wabula byeyongera bweyongezi ku bijja twagala ggwanga lyaffe twagala nsi yaffe Bannayuganda baagala baddiza ddembe lyabwe emyaka gye tucelebratinga ejja independence gyonna Museveni agyonoonye tulinga abatafunanga bwetuwaze kubanga bakanywa musaya balwano nga tetunafuna independence Museveni ate obubi bwaliko abasinzeeko mu mbulireyo Museveni ekyamaanyi kyazimbidde eggwanga lino kye tugenda omujjukirako tugenda mujjukirako baganda baffe bye yatta Luweero ng'ajja mu bukulembeze bw'eggwanga kyekyo ekinene ekyatukoledde ne baganda baffe bangi nnyo ababuziddwawo naye nga babuzaawo lwa yosaite buhabulwa so tumutegeeza asibe ng'obudde bukyali Bannayuganda bagaanye ensi y'Abannayuganda egaanye Bannayuganda bagala ggwanga lyabwe Museveni tolina kyotugamba wabula kwata eggwanga lyaffe olizze mu mikono gyaffe tusigale nga tutambula n'olugendo tugenda dutambuza ate tugenda dutuusa kasita nga Bannayuganda twekutte wamu era nga Uganda eyogedde nti ke kaseera tufune eggwanga lyaffe lidde mu mikono gyaffe ono tebuhabulwa atakyalina kyagamba ggwanga wamma baganda bange mikwano gyange tubategeeza nti yakadde kekano Munnayuganda yeerwaniko era nga President yatukulembedde tewali kigenda gaana.
That was the reason why we ended up in the ghetto in the first place. So I worked so hard, became a super famous artist. I drove the first Cadillac Escalade in town with 24-inch spinning wheels, and I was accomplished until this one fateful day when I was walking in waves and moving out of a nightclub when a young man my age walked up to me because all the girls had their eyes on me, and he felt like I was stealing the show from him. So he walked up to me and slapped me. Before I turned to fight back, he pulled a gun and put it on my face, slapped me some more, and said, "Yo, why are you showing off? Don't you know this country has owners?" That's when I realized that, you know, my fame and fortune did help when I was still oppressed. And using my fame and the effectiveness of my music, I changed and it became edutainment instead of entertainment. I started addressing the issues that many people had been facing, but I was, you know, covered from, or so I thought. So I realized the importance of my music, and since then, my music even got deeper in the hearts of the people because I was singing about their predicament, I was singing about their situation. Music is very important. No wonder my music is now banned in Uganda. My name is banned in Uganda. My music cannot play on TV or on radio, and if you're caught playing my music, you risk your life. But guess what? My music is still the most popular music in Uganda. So, music is powerful. Now, to answer your question, what's my advice to an artist that wants to rise up but from the depth of his soul? I'll say, stay real. Keep real and keep true. Because when you sing the truth, actually that's when you get the real fans those that identify with you. They might come slow, but every fund that you get will be an ardent fund forever. You will grow with those people. I've been able to grow with those funds. We breathe the same air even before we meet, because we are looking at something bigger than ourselves. This music is just an element that brings us together. So, sticking to what's right, speaking the truth, and representing the truth and the reality, in my view and in my experience as an artist, is unbeatable. I don't know if that was the question, but I thought this, I understood it. It's as if you were asking whether we have sought any redress from any court. Was that the question? Yes. In Uganda, General Museveni is a god, for lack of a better word. He has the parliament in his pocket. He has the courts of law in his pocket. He is the law, and the law is him. His son will make a pronouncement, no matter how illegal it is, and it will be taken by the courts and by all people. So we don't expect any justice in Uganda. However, we went ahead and we petitioned the International Criminal Court. We put a case against General Museveni in the International Criminal Court, and this follows the massacre that happened on the 18th and 19th of November 2020, where more than 150 of our supporters, including men, women, and children, even old people, that were gunned down by the military. On camera, it was covered by BBC, by CNN, by Al Jazeera. We took him to the International Criminal Court. We hope that the International Criminal Court will do the right thing, but we just want to make sure that we tick every legal box across the globe. So we took General Museveni to the International Criminal Court. We also hope to bring another case in the East African Court of Justice. But we also know that, we are dealing with an extremely empowered and, a regime that has been in power for 37 years. We only do the right thing, and we hope these institutions will also do the right thing. That is how far we can go internationally. Locally, we are galvanizing our people to resist, to continue resisting, even under tough conditions. My brother asked, what does Pan-Africanism mean to me or to us? Pan-Africanism, as far as I know, is the rooting for or the desire to uplift African people or people of African descent all over the world. As told to us by our forefathers, the likes of Kwame Nkrumah, the likes of Nyerere, and many other forefathers and mothers that came before us. And that's what we know, what is supposed to be done. Unfortunately, there's a different version of Pan-Africanism by the African leaders, majority of them. In fact, it's not only a redefinition of Pan-Africanism, it's also a redefinition of these continental and regional blocks, the East African Community, the African Union, and all that. I'm afraid to note painfully that the East African Community and the African Union have been reduced to presidents' clubs to look out for each other against their people, but not for the African people. You'll notice that it's the African people that suffer most in Africa. It is harder for an African man, for a black man like me, to cross from one African country to another. And it's much easier for a white man. It is more dangerous for an African man like myself to live in an African country called South Africa because of the xenophobia, where we Africans are seen as intruders, but You know, the Europeans are saluted and have the red carpet rolled out for them. It is more painful for a black Ugandan man to do business in Uganda than a Chinese or Indian man or woman. That's a kind of Pan-Africanism that our leaders are showing us. I mean, recently when we had the COVID pandemic and we had our black brothers and sisters in countries like China segregated and blocked from housing, I dealt with some African brothers here in the US, and we were able to charter a plane to fly them back, but no African government would allow us to land, including Uganda. You know, so that's the kind of Pan-Africanism that we are having. We are being mortgaged. You know, what is African to the leaders of Africa? Majority of the leaders is the resources, not the people. So, according to me, I believe that Pan-Africanism should be the upliftment of the African people, not African leaders. You know, it should be about the people. And not only Pan-Africanism, but even the regional and continental blocks, they should be about the people, bringing the people together and looking out for the people, the populations, and not the leaders. Unfortunately, it is the leaders and not the people. We, the people, are seen as... Let me reserve that. We were also asked by my sister, how do we get the congressmen and women to watch this film? I don't know. I don't know. We're trying as much as possible. This morning, I flew from LA to here because there was an opportunity to speak to this crowd, however small it is, and we make every effort to ensure that anybody, not only the congressmen and women, but you, the voters, we make sure that you see this, because if you see this film, maybe you'll make an effort to see that another person sees it, and you'll have reason when something happens in Uganda or in any other country in Africa to raise your voice. And I must say that Uganda is just a case study, ladies and gentlemen. Do not reduce this only to Uganda. We are only a case study. And because maybe I'm a popular artist and there's that aura of cameras that come to me, but just recently in Zimbabwe, there was an election. And what happened in Uganda exactly happened in Zimbabwe. Unfortunately, they don't have the opportunity that I have. We have our brothers in Eritrea. We have our brothers in many other parts of Africa. The same pain that we go through. So I hope what I'm saying here is not only representative of the people in Uganda alone, but all marginalized people in Africa and all the black world all over the world, and also other marginalized places like in South America and many other places. I hope my words represent them, because it would be very selfish for me to limit this plight to only Uganda. Our people are suffering all over the world. And finally, the same sister asked,
tubadde na President Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert Bobi obubaka obw'enjawulo bwasindikidde gavumenti y'omumpembe Yoseti Buhabulwa awamu n'akabinja ke nga bategeeza nti babire bakalako balaba kubanga Uganda bayinza ogirekulira ng'ate ebyabwe byeyongera okwonooneka n'okubulako bwe bayinza okwekweka, kubanga Uganda ya bannayuganda era bannayuganda be balina se esembayo ku ggwanga lyabwe. Kale Pulezidenti obubaka abutuwadde era tusaba obubaka buno butambule tulabe nga tufunamu ekyenjawulo oba nga tufuuka abawanguzi. Uganda yaffe era bannansi ffe abalina se esembayo ku ggwanga lyaffe. Tewali muntu yenna agenda tulemesa, tewali muntu yenna agenda tuza mabega ku lwa Uganda yaffe okusigala ng'etambula. Tugenda kubeera bawanguzi, tugenda kubeera banonozi, tugenda kubeera ebyenjawulo bingi bingi nnyo bigenda kuba bituuka ku lwa Uganda yaffe. So baganda yaffe twekwate wamu nga kituli tukuleganire wamu, tujja kulaba ng'omumpembe ono ate tumusudda ettale ne waba ayagala ne waba tayagala ffe abalina sse esembayo ku ggwanga lyaffe. Museveni talina kyagamba, talina kiddako, naye akimanyi bulungi nti bannansi be bannannyini Uganda era bino byonna abikolanga naye mu mutima akimanyi nti essaawa yonna bannayuganda bamujja mu ntebe y'obukulembeze bw'eggwanga. Bikolobero bingi byatukozeeko, naye ke kaseera naye akifiiringe.